is a strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities in Nigeria. It started like a joke, a day, maybe for a day, a week, a month. By the last count, we are in the 7th month of the industrial action. How long it will last, nobody can still see. And we have today with us one of the key players in the industrial face-off between the government and the academic staff members of Nigerian universities. He is the chairman of that union at the Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife, by name Dr. Adiola Egbedoku. Doctor, you're welcome on this program.
Thank you, sir, for having me on your program. Thank you so much.
The strike is on, we are in the 7th month. Well, looking at someone like you, it's like if there is no strike, everything looks normal, calm, glittery and shiny. What exactly is the secret of your look, just starting from that? Are you part of the ASU and the chairman of the body? But there are certain privileges that you enjoy that
Thank you very much for starting on that note. Well, to let you know that that is how academics make you, or that is what academics make you. You know, when you are in this business of academics, you know, because of the rigors that you have been taught, you know, you develop some thick skins to the extent that whatever the situation that comes your way, it doesn't affect you, even psychologically, mentally, spiritually, physically. It doesn't affect you, and that is what you see on me, and that's how you see our members also. In fact, at this time, apart from the fact that we are being staffed because we were not being paid for the period of the strike, we've not been paid, yet we are still moving on because we have developed that thick skin as academics in the first instance.
that make it well.
Yes.
Even in the way.
Exactly.
We need to teach Nigerians, other Nigerians.
You know, it's funny. It is funny that I was on a platform when an issue was raised on this strike sometimes ago. I think about 3 weeks ago. And somebody was talking some things. And later I had to contribute to that discussion. And after I had said everything, there are so many professors on that platform. And I had said some things. And somebody said, oh, you these professors must come around. Please, you need to tell us and teach us the principle of, I've forgotten the English word he used, but something like if somebody is going through a hard time, how do you survive? That you
Survival instinct.
Maybe something like that.
Okay.
That you should come and teach us, because by and by, apart from the fact that the luxury of when you are being given salary is no longer there, yet we are still managing by the grace of God.
Okay. Everybody in Nigeria today knows why you are on strike, but majority are confused as to why you have not cut it off. How come it is lasting this long?
Sincerely, I was a little bit taken aback the day I was watching Malam Adamu, you know, telling some lies on national TV via a press conference that he granted. For me, it was an embarrassing situation for the country, because a federal minister would come online come before the glare of the camera and be telling lies.
Okay.
If government had been sincere from the day one, if they had come to our negotiating table with open mind, with clarity of purpose, honestly, we will not be where we are today. Why do I say that? Is because if government knew from the beginning that they were going to give an award which could be withdrawn by them at any time, I think they should have given or offered that award before February 14, when we declared the initial rolling strike. You remember. Why did it take the government all this while by setting up the Munzali committee that produced a document, an agreement that came out of negotiation with the union? Also, they pushed it aside. Also, they set up a committee led by emeritus professor. The first one is also an emeritus professor, Munzali. Emeritus Professor Nimi Briggs also had concluded an agreement with us, and yet government still whisked it away as if nothing happened in the last few weeks, and came up with a sheet of paper to say, take this or you leave it. I mean, if that is what they were thinking from the onset, I think they should have come up with it from the beginning, rather than waste Nigerians' time and resources of the country. So for us, I think the government is just insincere. Maybe they are just treating the matter with kid gloves, and I don't think that should be happening to us. So it's embarrassing, it's unfortunate.
Okay, it takes two to tango. We'll come to the other aspects, but before then, I want us to look what was put on the table first and foremost by government that ASU is rejecting. Because the news in town is that the federal government had granted your request by as much as 80%.
That's also a lie, and a lie to the extent that, let's take it one by one.
Okay.
One, revitalization fund. This is a matter that has been on since 2009. And government set up a committee, and the committee came up in 2012 to tell this committee was set up by the federal government, not by ASU. ASU was just, I think, one or two of us were members of that committee, and they went around all the public federal and state universities in Nigeria and came up with a report and a total figure of 1.3 trillion naira to revitalize the dilapidated infrastructures in those universities. Okay? But unfortunately for government said they were not going to be able to fund to that tune of money at that time. And ASU provided a solution that this could be spread over 5 years in 5 tranches, 220 billion naira yearly, where the government in 2012 released a total of 200 billion naira, at least as a sign of faith and commitment at that time. But the current government, ever since they took office, had only released about less than 80 billion naira revitalization fund. In this last effort that we are making, we got information from the government that government said they were going to release 170 billion naira as revitalization fund. That's not a problem. We'll get a problem later. Secondly, on our academic allowances, government then said they were going to release 2 tranches of the outstanding allowances. Remember that we signed an MOA, Memorandum of Action, with the government after the suspension of the 2020 strike, which was suspended on 23rd of December 2020, if you remember, sir. And in that Memorandum of Action, government proposed 4 tranches, okay, 4 periods for defraying all those outstanding and academic allowances. I can confirm to you that up to now, what government paid is not even up to 1 tranche of what was agreed upon. Okay, now they are saying that they will release 2 tranches. That's what they said. Number 3 has to do with government white paper on the visitation panel. You know, we've been crying, we've been shouting since 2004 that government should send visitation, since 2014, that government should send visitation panels to all our federal universities, which they refused to. They did that only last year, after our 2020 agitation. Okay? Now, after the committees have visited all the universities, the next thing was for government to release the white paper. Government said about 2 weeks ago that they will release the white paper. It is only if they will release it tomorrow, because we haven't seen anything. 4 is our condition of service. I must tell Nigerians that the last time we got increment in our salary as academic was 2009. I am on a pay grade of, I think that is, I'm on 5.7 now. A senior lecturer, that's grade level 5, step 7. And I've been on this job for about 18, 19 years. My salary up to now is still 268,000 naira. That was the same salary a senior lecturer of my caliber collected in 2009. How do you reconcile that gap between 2009 and 2022? Okay, so government then came up with a proposal of, for those of us who are not professors, that is from GA to senior lecturer, gave a proposal of 30,000 naira increase, not 30% increase. So 30,000 naira increase on our salary. So if my salary is 268, I should be expecting about 310.
298.
298, thank you. Then for professors, about 60,000 naira. The most senior professor in any university today, federal, his salary is not above 416,000 naira. A professor. And before you call somebody a professor, that person must have spent nothing less than 20-25 years in the system. And after spending 10 years as a professor, you get to the bar, you are not going anywhere again. At that bar, your salary is 416,000 naira. So if you add 60,000 to that, that gives you about 476,000. And that's what the government of Nigeria can offer ASU today. Okay, then government then said, and that's the problem, government then said the implementation of all of this will come with 2023 budget, and the effective date of implementation will be June 2023, when the current government must have exited. I mean, insincerity, inconsistency, and lack of human face.
Okay. Okay. The representatives of the government is not here to really react to some of this. And we hope we will bring them after this so that they will also be able to clear some of these allegations. But then, like I said, either from the government angle, all of us know what the economy is today. Some will say you are not considerate because you are not factoring the interest of the students into it. I think someone staying for 6-7 months and still counting. What is your take on this? How considerate you say members of your union are as far as this matter is concerned? The Bible say if you don't because of yam eat take the oil, because of the oil take yam. If you are not considering calling off the strike because of the government, but the future of the students and their parents should be a factor that should make you to reconsider your stand as a union, where you say, as we is in this matter, any defense whatsoever, as far as your being considerate is concerned?
It's not even a matter of a defense, but the reality that is on ground.
Okay.
I remember that as a student in OAU, I also witnessed our lecturers, embarking on strike at that time. And well, for some of us at that time, like me, I didn't even understand so many things. The only thing I understood at that time was that we were asked to go home, and we went home. And we came back to school when the school resumed. Now, and if you look at, I think for a very long time, ASU had embarked on series of strikes. Those strikes were embarked upon for the purpose of making our university system better. Take notice of one thing also, that most of the times when we embarked on strike, it is not our welfare, the welfare of our members, that is at the forefront. Go and check our agitations very well. The agitations has always started with the issue of revitalization of the university system itself, because we discover that when we work in a conducive environment, you are more productive. If the environment is not attractive in any way, there is no way you could be that productive. So in terms of those who feel that we are not considerate of parent, student, no, we are. Because if we don't have them in our mind, sincerely, maybe our strikes may not even last 1 day or 2 days. If the only thing we're asking from government is pay our salary, give us more money, give us. Honestly, government may be doing that. They may be increasing our salary consistently. But the issue is, we want our environment also to also be conducive, not for us, but for our students. If revitalization fund is released, it is to the benefit of the student majorly, because those monies will be used in repairing the lecture rooms, laboratories, moot court. I mean, so many structures in the universities will benefit from that funding. The only thing that come to me as an academic staff is either my increment in salary, which had come in 2009, but the other ones that had come to me from 2009 till last year were just earned academic allowances. And we are also asking for academic allowances because government refused to allow our universities to run fully on autonomy. How? In my department, there are establishments, in a university system, we call positions establishments. Okay, I occupy one. There are so many departments in our universities that have like 10 establishments, but only 5 are occupied, giving a shortage of 5 individuals in that department. So 5 people are doing the job of 10 people, and ASU has been crying over this. But in lieu of just working freely, ASU then demanded that, okay, give us and allowances for that. So if I do an excess work, pay me more. That is the origin of
like overtime.
Something like that. But it's really not overtime. Because again, NUC regulates what happens in the university. And for us who are in the humanities, the ratio of lecturer to student is about 1:30. But today, sir, what I teach in some of my classes, undergraduate classes, I see 700 students as one person. So if universities are properly revitalized and funded, so these issues will not come up in any way.
So we'll look at this aspect of autonomy because of this program. But look at the negotiation going on. At the state, the federal government said the reference to 2009, that agreement, and those before 2015 were made by other governments, either Yar'Adua's government or Jonathan's government. And this government is saying you are holding it responsible, even holding it in the jugular. Yes, as we will say, government is a continuum. You inherit both the assets and the liabilities. And they are saying if you've been as hard as this earlier, maybe even before the end of Jonathan's administration, this problem will have been resolved. So why hitting harder on Buhari's government? More so when it is on its way out. And you made a reference, all the agreement. Government is saying the implementation will come next year, precisely in June, after the exit of this government. How do you relate the two?
Well, I don't understand that narrative very well. But let me put this to.
But you understand that.
You know it's like I don't know what to call it in English. Yeah, if you win, that be no. Somehow, you know, when the National Assembly, when that building was to be refurbished, government released, we heard from the news that government released about 27 billion naira for the renovation of the National Assembly. Why did the government not say they were not the one who built it? They should have referred to the government that built it in those days to come and refurbish it. Government is a continuum. It's not only particular about ASUU matter, not particular about education matter. I think it has to go around every other sector of the economy. That government is a continuum. So if a government stops somewhere, the next government must pick it from there. Secondly, to also point attention to the fact that we are not harder on one than the other. No, we are not. Not at all. You will recall that before the implementation of the 2009 agreement, we embarked on 6-month strike. We were on 6 months. But fortunately for us, because I think maybe somebody's and the matter of our strike was totally resolved. And that was why we came back and we suspended that strike at that time. But even if you look at between 2012-13 and now, we had embarked on series of strikes also. Not because we want to punish anybody, not because we want to be hard on anybody, but because we want to draw the attention of the government to the fact that, look, there are issues that are unresolved, and these issues must be resolved. This is education. Why do we have problem with our security? Why do we have problem in the economics? Why do we have problem in so many sectors of the economy? It's because government neglect the sector of education. There should be a springboard for all other sectors. So for us in ASUU, we are not harder on any government. No. What we are doing is patriotic. Patriotic in the sense that we could have said, well, it should be the government that signed the agreement with us has gone. Let's do another agreement with this one now. No, we didn't do that. But we said, okay, look at the agreement that is on ground. Let's do a review. I think it should only be a matter of sincerity on the part of the government to then come up with the fact that in this agreement, these are the things we can do. These are the things we cannot do.
Which the government has said
they did not do. See, we did collective bargaining. And the process of collective bargaining also assigns to both parties the responsibility of coming back to the other one to say, we have gone this far. This is the next line of action. Rather than for the government to do that. That's why I use Mimi Briggs. Mimi Briggs committee document was pushed aside. And government came up from the blues with another thing entirely. That is unfair.
Okay. Also related to this strike is the issue of the dichotomy between the federal and state universities. It's always the practice after all these negotiations, ASUU will now insist that whatever is agreed upon to be implemented across boards, including the state. And when you look at ASUU, you have professors, you have doctors, academic execs campaigning for true federalism. You have separate statute establishing federal government and state government universities. The conditions of service are determined by the various councils. But now, ASUU will now say, yes, we have signed with the federal government. States must, by hook or crook, stick to the agreement reached with the federal government. Where precisely would you say the spirit of federalism is in this matter?
Are we practicing federalism in Nigeria? I'm not a student of political science, but the federalism I know is not what is operating in Nigeria. I stand to be corrected.
So it should be compromised further?
No.
With ASUU?
No.
Okay.
That's not my point.
Okay.
Secondly, sir, we don't insist that by crook or by
hook or crook.
By hook or crook. We don't.
By fear of how means.
No, we don't. We don't. All we are saying is that there is no distinction, because what we bargain with government is just like a basis, the basic things. I remember that in 2009, when we signed that agreement with government, there were some states in the South that even went above what was specified in that agreement to be paid to their lecturers in their states. So it is not about making a distinction between the federal universities and the state universities. To also draw attention to the fact that if that is the distinction we want to make, then we are shooting ourselves in the foot. How? You will get to some universities in Nigeria, state universities especially, and you will find, just for example, you find 10 buildings there. There are just 10 buildings. Go and count very well. The 10 buildings, out of the 10 buildings, you will find at least 7 or 8 that were result of either needs assessment, TET fund, or special intervention projects, which were outcomes of our agitation with the federal government. Now, if state university then want to say, we don't want to be part, would they also say they don't want to be part of sharing the revitalization fund, the needs assessment fund?
Who is paying the revitalization fund for all the state universities? Who will pay the revitalization funds? Will the federal government
only God? The last one that was released, there is no public university that did not access it. You can ask around. Osun State University is close by here. Ask them there if they did not receive revitalization fund. It's not only for the federal universities.
Okay. Now this reference to state universities and staff or lecturers as quacks, as widely publicized by the Nigerian media, coming from your national president. Okay, so that is creating a lot of ill feelings, and we now have vice chancellors of some of state university coming together and making their position, which to a certain extent is antithetical to what ASUU is agitating for. If we haven't had some state universities pulling out of this line, you even have one like Osun calling on students in some of these universities on strike to transfer to the institution.
Maybe we should mention those state universities that are pulling out. I see, sir. I think, again, like I have been saying since morning, I think media houses should help both the government and ASU in some of these, agitations that we are on. Funding a research in OAU, maybe in the Department of English, and OSBC is bringing about 5 trillion naira to the Department of English Language. Now,
hypothetically,
can't you do it realistically? You can do it realistically.
I know you are working on hypothesis.
Now, that fund is for both the university and the Department of English Language. And whatever happens to that money, the Department of English and the university must be held responsible without any interference from outside. If there is going to be any interference, that interference will come from the visitation panel, which is also set up by the law that governs the university. Okay? Also, to the effect that the Vice Chancellor has one power, the power to appoint Dr. Professor Mr. Lagbaja into the Department of English Language for a specific issue, okay, without first going through the normal process of appointment. But after 1 year, that appointment will be regularized. Now, unfortunately, what we have now is that there are so many interferences from ministries, from some departments, from agencies, all around us, coming around to say blah, blah, blah. If you want, the last time we did recruitment in OAU and some federal universities in Nigeria should be about 4 years ago, because of these undue interferences that are coming from everywhere. And the university is autonomous. That, you see, it's
supposedly.
It is not something that we are trying to do in Nigeria. It is a global practice.
Okay, now talking about this autonomy, shouldn't it involve funding?
I've just said that.
And you take care of yourself. Why should you rely on the government, whether federal, state, or local government, if you can generate your funds? If you are autonomous.
No, you see, the funding we are talking about there has to do with research, and that's why I said
we are talking about partial autonomy.
It's not partial, sir. That's why I said don't look at it from the angle.
The government must fund.
No,
but you must be free.
Of course, the running must be free. The operations must be free of interferences. But government that holds the universities must fund the university appropriately.
And where they are putting their money, they cannot put their mouth.
They have their mouth there. Why do they appoint council members? That is the reason they appoint council members in the universities. See, this is how it works. If there is a university today, the government that establishes that university appoints a pro-chancellor, who is the head of that university. The VC is just the administrative head, who also reports to the pro-chancellor. Now, what also happens is that the federal government or state government that established that university will have ceded its power to that council, and that council will now be representing the government in that university. So whatever funding that must still come from the founder. The founder must fund the university. But in terms of the processes within the university, which is more of my job as a researcher in the university, that can be funded by OSBC.
Okay, the academic environment, the every attire, ought to be problem solvers rather than problem creators. You have spoken about a number of researches that are being done in the university. So many. You have promotion based on this researches. But to an average person on the street, it's as if these researches are not translating to anything positive in our national lives. To what extent will you say the researches being carried out in the ivory tower are relevant as far as solving the day-to-day problems we are confronting as a country? I'm talking about Nigeria now, particularizing it. Or is it just do your research, earn your promotion, and that is where it ends?
And I'll cite about 2 examples for you. There was a research that was carried out in the Faculty of Agriculture in OAU. I think I was very small at that time. There is these beans they call Ife Brown. Ife Brown was a result of the researches that were done at OAU. That beans, in fact, went as far as Iseyin. I'm from Iseyin, okay? And my father was a farmer at that time. We planted Ife Brown because agric extension officers came from OAU to come and train us on how to plant it. My father is an agriculturist anyway, so it was easier for us to do some of those things. Secondly, to also say that in the Faculty of Pharmacy, at least I participated in something sometimes ago when Professor Ilujoba was the director of DRPU, director I think, and I produced some packages for them at that time. They were producing some herbal medicines for certain, ailment in the environment. They also went as far as producing some form of paracetamol that were based on our local content. Okay, I also know those who are in ICT who also produce some software. In fact, the software that we are using to process our results on the campus of OAU today was developed right from there. Okay, so we have so many results of our research that are in the open there. Unfortunately for us, and I ask a very simple question, that when was the last time somewhere like OSBC also visited either Uni Osun or Obafemi Awolowo University for solving a particular problem?
What a tactical way of passing the ball.
No, we are not passing the ball. Just trying to explain the matters. Because some of those industries, companies abroad that are thriving, they are thriving on the research output of the universities around them, and they will be the ones to actually challenge the university system.
So the researchers are not just gathering dust.
No, they are not just gathering dust. Yeah, no.
Yes, we will be ending the program from where we started, as we strike per se. The tunnel looks very dark for now, as far as this crisis is concerned. When will there be light out of that tunnel?
Depending on the source,
it is still
depending on the source of the light. When you have a tunnel, there is a end of the tunnel, so that is the source of the light. I think we are moving closer. The only issue is for the government to just...
You are moving closer. It's not that you are on indefinite strike now.
Yeah, the indefinite strike, sir, is something that can also end tomorrow, that can end today.
Indefiniteness of indefinite strike.
Yeah.
Okay.
It also means that it can end today, tomorrow, in the next 1 week, in the next 2 weeks, in the next 10 years. Of course, depending on the government.
Not on the other.
Yeah, somebody, I think I was being asked at the other studio that can ASU shift grants? And I said there is not even any grant to shift anywhere.
Why?
Yeah, because government has not provided anything for us to to have discussions on. If I want to
you have
shift,
listed some on this
sir,
program.
if I want to shift grants for you, that grant must be based on our discussion, not on somebody's idea. What was
But you
brought
have
before
spoken
us,
of what was brought before you.
you know, it wasn't as a result of the Nimi Briggs engagement with us. Did you see Nimi Briggs and his people? Did you see their publication in the news daily, debunking all the lies or responding to all the lies? You know,
All the alleged lies.
being peddled.
Okay.
So they should have written a rejoinder now.
So
If
what you are saying on behalf of ASU to millions of our viewers, students and parents at home, is that this strike is likely to be fight to finish.
I didn't say that.
So what exactly have you said?
No, I've only said that it lies in the hand of the government to end the strike now.
I had said it on this program earlier.
Yes, sir.
I think it's to tango.
Yes. Yeah, we have tangled. Let them also tangle.
But without what brand have you shifted since the whole thing started?
Okay, maybe I should then explain. When Nimi Briggs came to ASU, ASU was of the opinion or asked whether it was the government that had sent Nimi Briggs, and the answer was in the affirmative. It was Nimi Briggs that presented, you know, some issues before ASU based on our agitation on the provision that all the government agencies and ministries have been visited to ensure that whatever they are bringing or whatever they are going to discuss with us will be based on the provisions from those ministries and departments. Now, we considered a lot of issues with Nimi Briggs that, okay, on the issue of our salary, we considered to what we are bringing. We considered to this, we considered to that. Now, the next thing for government to do is to come back to us with that same document, that same draft agreement, and then let us know what are the issues we want to raise, or do you want to sign it as it were, or you want to reject one or two things, or you want to modify here and there. But rather than do that, what the government did was just to go and bring an award from the blues and present to us.
Our time is fast spent. So a lot of people are good at studying body languages. I'm not very good at that.
You did now.
But even at that, I could see from the body language of ASU that shifting grant or ending the strike soon may be out of it for now.
No, it is the government that is not shifting. If ASU had considered a lot of things with Nimi Briggs, we are not the one that set up Nimi Briggs committee.
Incidentally,
it was government.
I hope one of these days, Dr. Egbedoku was to become Minister of Education, because we've seen a number of people from the academics, professors who have served as
I'm not a
Minister of
politician.
Education.
I'm not a politician, so I cannot be appointed as a minister. I'm sorry, I can be a minister in Nigeria.
Where do you want to be a minister?
In my house. In my house.
So you are saying if you are appointed tomorrow, you turn it down?
Definitely.
Why?
Definitely.
Why?
Am I a politician?
Okay. Yeah, so what you are saying is that only politicians are appointed to office. Even in the days of the military, we have academic grades as Minister of Education. We are not card-carrying members of any political party. Okay. And the situation, well, if you agree with me, was not particularly different from what we are seeing.
And that is why for somebody like me, being a union leader, it would be like a contradiction if I become a minister tomorrow, because I don't want to sit in a place where I don't have mouth.
So for Dr. Adeola Egbedoku, the chairman of academic staff union of universities in Obafemi Awolowo University, it is solidarity forever.
Thank you, sir.
Well, like a friend will say it's not the laughing matter. Yoruba will tell you that when a matter goes beyond crime, we laugh over it.
Then, that's correct.
We want to appreciate you for being with us on this program.
Thank you so much, sir.
And Dr. Egbedokum is not here alone. We have the internal auditor of the union also coming along with him, Dr. Randy Sapiri. I hope I got the name right. We appreciate you for coming. To our viewers, thanks for being there. Because we are there, that we are here. We meet again next week on another edition of Let's Discuss, and I'm assuring you with another personality that will be talking on critical national matters. Until then, on behalf of those who are behind the camera, the unseen hands behind this particular production, Atlanla Olabi is my name. I say thanks for being there. Bye-bye for now.